Hey guys, today I want to talk about the Ideal Implant. Now, the Ideal Implant is the newest saline implant on the market, and by newest, I mean the only other one. It got FDA approved in 2014, and they really made a push in 2015 to get all their implants out. So, if you still haven't heard of them, it's still pretty new. It's a fairly new advancement in the saline world. So, when you are talking with your plastic surgeon, it's worth asking about to see if they have a sample of them because these things are really cool. So this is the Ideal Implant. It's filled 100% with saline solution, which is a sterile saltwater solution, also known as sodium chloride, what you get in your IV bags at the hospital. So this is, so you can kind of see the shape of it. Has a little peak and it goes back down. So it has a unique shape to a standard saline implant that, this one's overfilled, but they normally are pretty like just flat in the middle. So this guy has two fill valves, and what that means is when you get your implants, when they're saline, they are not pre-filled, which means they are just an empty shell. And that allows for your incision site to be smaller because all you're putting in is into that pocket, that incision site, into your breast pocket is a shell. And then you add the saline once it's in your breast. So this guy, what makes the Ideal Implant unique is that there are two fill valves. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. And there are two different lumens inside of it. So what that means is in the top valve, it fills up this top section. There's like a little section that you fill up right here on the very superficial part of the implant. And the bottom fill valve fills up like an internal, almost like a secondary implant within it. And in between those are like these little shells that make it feel more natural. And what's cool about that is with the standard saline implant, your biggest risk is for rippling because it's just easier for the sides to fold over on itself, and rippling can be seen through your breast tissue if you don't have a lot of it, so through your skin, and that can be like probably the most common complication that there is for saline. So they wanted to address the rippling. With the double lumen, it makes it more taut on the side, which is really great, and it also makes it feel more natural, like more like breast tissue. Salines are not known for feeling like breast tissue. They are typically firmer. If they're firmer, if they're overfilled, if they're not overfilled, then they feel more watery, just kind of sloshy. So let me show you this. So here's your typical saline, and here's your Ideal Implant, and I'm going to jiggle them both the same. So you see this one, it jiggles more, and this one doesn't jiggle as much. So there's more stability within the implant because of the two separate shells being filled. So that's really cool. I had the privilege of sitting at Dr. Paul's office when he did my revision back in March of 2015, my most recent breast augmentation. And I got to actually feel one of the Ideal implants, and I felt it next to a silicone gel. And I kid you not, it felt so much, like it felt very comparable. I mean, if you feel a regular saline implant next to a silicone gel, there's no mistaking which one you're feeling. But it was such a huge advancement in the world of saline implants that it felt similar. Not the same, but it felt very similar. So that's something I really, really liked. I considered getting the Ideal implants because they had just come out that spring, and that was when I got my revision. But they hadn't released the higher implant cc's. I was looking in the more 500, 550 range, and they had only released their 400s at that point. So I went ahead and just stuck with the regular salines. But these guys are really cool. I started an online community called BusMob. You may or may not have heard of it. I didn't expect to talk about this, but it's busmob.com. It's an online community for women who either want implants or already have breast implants. But what's cool about it is I know some women in that group that have the Ideal implants, and they've only had great things to say about it. And that rings true for people I've talked to on emails, that kind of thing. But I have heard from surgeons that some of their patients say that they can feel firm, and that's also a pretty common thing said about regular salines. I mean, I say that all the time. They feel firm when I lay on my stomach. So that's something to consider if you want to reach for the Ideal implants. They might feel a little bit more firm than if you did go with the silicone implants, but they do feel much more like a silicone implant than your typical standard saline implants. So definitely something to consider when you're at your consultation, or if you want saline implants, I would highly recommend checking the Ideal implant out. But yeah, if you have Ideal implants, leave me a comment below and let me know how you like them. I'm super interested. And again, if you want to be a part of that online community, that's busmob.com, and it'll tell you all about it, and you can sign up there. So thanks for watching.